4 contestants enter, but only 1 leaves a champion. That's right, it's time for the one and only Project Nerd Game Show. Live from the Project Nerd Studios in StreamYard, it's The Last Word.
Welcome, everybody, to the show today. It is our first episode in September. We have some great news to talk about, some fun topics, some fun celebrity feuds. When I introduce our guests today, we have a full lineup. We've got 4 guests, all great dudes. Very excited to have them all here. First, I want to bring in our resident toy maker, though, Sean. Sean, hello. Great to see you. I've heard all of your Hop toys are shipping now. Is that right?
Yes, finally, man. Everything. All our projects that were delayed for 14 months because of COVID are finally here. So
super exciting. We're really happy for you.
Thank you.
Up next, we're going to bring in somebody that was here 2 weeks ago who felt that they were potentially unfairly losing based on their amazing arguments. It is Casey. Casey, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Great to see you today.
I get that it's a first timer rule. I get it. It's cool. I'm all
well, thank you for coming back and not hating on that. Okay, we appreciate you.
Not at all.
Up
You're
next,
ready to go.
Tyler at Project Nerd Staple. Welcome, Tyler. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. It's been a while. I'm glad to be back.
Glad to have you here. And of course, someone that we are all familiar with here at Last Word, somebody that's hosted the show when my internet dropped in the middle of an episode, Isaiah. What's up, man? Great to see you.
What's up, Project Nerds? What's going on? I'm so excited just to rub it in his face. I won my first time, so I'm just, I'm back in the groove of things. Yeah.
Okay, Casey, unfortunately for you, you're already stacked up. Everyone's already ganging up against you. So I'm going to give Casey 1 point because it feels like he's already getting ganged up on to start. Okay?
I was just getting ready to say how I was totally with him, and like I'm happy to have him here. So.
Okay, Sean, watch yourself. You might lose a point for sucking up. Okay, so we're going to have 2 rounds. We got a bunch of questions. Everyone's going to hang out until the final round where we'll eliminate 2 people, and we will go from there. Let's get into it. And our first question today, we are going to start with, of course, The Rings of Power, which is now out on Amazon. And the Internet Bomb Brigade is out in full force. So we're going to talk first. Do you like the show if you've seen it? Try to stick to no spoilers if you can. I love the show so far. I tend to really like it. Now, I'm not someone that's sitting around reading the Silmarillion every summer, right? Like a lot of these guys that are upset about it. But Amazon actually instituted a 3-day review policy for the show to try to combat some of this. Tyler, what are your thoughts on the Rings of Power and what's going on?
I don't read the Silmarillion every year, but I have read it more than once, so we'll start there. But here's the thing. I have to preface everything with, I think it's fine. I'm not angry at it. I don't have any big qualms with it. And any qualms I have with it have nothing to do with how they're adapting Tolkien's works or casting or anything like that. I think the casting's been fantastic. I was actually excited for a lot of it. I've enjoyed a lot of the acting. It looks like they spent as much money as they say they spent on it. That part of it's amazing. The world feels lived in. My complaint is they definitely filed off all the edges, and it feels very rote in a American RPG game kind of way. It feels like there are points where can we just make a Dragon Age, and we think anyone will notice if we just make this a weird RPG quest things. And there's they've taken a lot of classic characters and tried to fit them into very specific this is a character you would see in this type of movie or show or game, and we're gonna shove Galadriel into this crazy awesome warrior woman who's being gaslighted by everyone about Morgoth returning, and then we're gonna have Elrond and Durin get mad at each other for the dumbest. I mean, it's very. I have to say, I've enjoyed it so far, but I don't think I was kind of excited for it, and it's been okay.
Casey, I know,
but not because of any weird casting or Tolkien kind of stuff, just because it's kind of bland.
Casey, I know you're really big into Lord of the Rings, and the first couple episodes so far felt a lot like season 1 of Thrones a little bit, right? Where world building, bringing in a lot of characters, a lot of conversations. You've not seen the show yet, but do you care if it's close to the source material?
I think it's hard because the source material was written so long ago, and modern audiences have a problem with pacing because they have the attention spans of squirrels. So I could see why they would need to file off the edges, like Tyler said. And I think that makes sense because they're trying to make it digestible for the modern audience and for sort of in layman's terms. If they go too deep and sweaty with the mythos, it might drive people off. I think I'm a big Game of Thrones fan too, and they did a good job of building that up over time. But since we've already kind of had an immersion into this world, I think they have a little bit of that work done for them. So I'm hoping that these first 2 episodes, if they are slow, are just ramping up to some epic stuff. Damn knows they have the budget for it. So
Yes, yeah, and poor Wheel of Time over there with its low budget and it's like, hey guys, we could have used some of that money ourselves. Sean, did you get a chance to watch the Lord of the Rings show so far? What do you think, and what do you think about review bombing before the episode's even out?
So I did get to watch both of the premiere episodes. My wife is like a huge Lord of the Rings fan. So the moment those things dropped, we were watching them both. And I think this might be one of those circumstances where I benefit heavily from knowing like nothing about Lord of the Rings aside from a little bit of the movies, because I watched those growing up, but my attention span was the squirrel back then in high school. So I didn't really get into the Lord of the Rings very much. But I thought these were great, man. I mean, you can see the cinematography that is straight up there with like Hollywood style, like the costume designs are out of this world. The CGI when it shows up is fantastic. The map that it shows, the sprawling map. The chick that they got to play Galadriel, it looks so much like the actress from the films. I thought that was pretty cool. I think she's a cool character. It seems like people who really dig into Tolkien and all his stuff and really know everything about the mythos and Lord of the Rings, everything, just don't dig this in the way that like maybe I didn't dig Halo because I knew everything about it. And I kind of thought it was like blasphemy that they were doing all these things that weren't quite in line with the original works. But man, I think when you write a studio a blank check and have them make something like they made with this, that second episode when the troll shows up, like, that was really cool, man. All the fighting is on point. The action is sweet. And I'm not super invested in the story yet, but we still have, like, I'm sure a lot of seasons to go here because what are the books like this thick or something or this thick? I don't know. I haven't seen them. But I thought it was great, man. I'm looking forward to next week for sure.
Isaiah, I know that the Lord of the Rings, you know, it's like 60 plus years, right? So there's a lot of lore, a lot of world building. And I think to me, the show felt like it had a lot of that, a lot of the gravitas maybe that Game of Thrones did not have out of the gate. What are your thoughts on this? Were you watching day one or had you review bombed a few times by then?
You know, I this kind of fell under the radar for me. I actually went back and I was watching Dexter when all of this was coming out. So I got to like start watching this a few hours before today's show. And I got to tell you, I loved it. I was late to the Lord of the Rings kind of thing initially as well. But after watching all of those, I really enjoyed it. I think the review bombing thing, I like that they're trying to do something about it. But for the most part, I wish people would just chill and enjoy that we're getting this stuff. Like if you would have told me, like my favorite Lord of the Rings is Two Towers. And if you would have told me that like we were getting a show based on like Before the Hobbit on Amazon, I'd have been like, dude, this is sweet. Like I'm not mad at seeing more Lord of the Rings ever. So review bombing, I think, is stupid. I think what Amazon's doing is pretty cool just to try and help alleviate the problem. Unlike what we're kind of seeing happen to like She-Hulk, right? Before She-Hulk is even out, people are like, it sucks, whatever, it's done, I'm not watching it. But if you sit down and you watch Lord of the Rings, I think it's great. It looked beautiful to me, similar to what everyone else was saying. Yeah, and more rules to keep trolls out of here. It's a good thing.
Casey, I know that you have some thoughts on review bombing. What do you want to bring up here?
Yeah, I really think it's like kind of a modern, like, I guess I shouldn't use this term lightly, but like digital epidemic where people are doing this to all kinds of IP just because they know they can either get a rise out of people or some notoriety out of it. And I think what really sucks about this particular version of review bombing that I've seen for this show in particular is that people are almost protesting any casting of people of color, and they're doing the same thing to Game of Thrones. And that really pisses me off because the worlds are supposed to be beautiful and inclusive, and there's so much room for all that to happen. And I think that what happens is these people call themselves purists, but they're really just like racist disguising themselves as purists, because I know a lot of people like me who are really familiar with the source material who couldn't care less as long as the characters are done justice in the way that like their moral compass and stuff is represented, not so much the color of their skin. It doesn't really matter.
Sometimes we need to remember that cinema came from stage. On stage, men would play women, women would play men, blacks would play whites. It didn't matter, man. Everybody played everybody. You were an actor up there. And I think it's kind of cool that maybe Hollywood's getting a little bit more back into that with like the casting and Hellraiser. Like we're looking less at that sort of thing and more just at talent and who deserves to be that spot, that actor.
Well, and one thing to remember too is like they're making stuff for millions and millions of people now, right? The audience was a little bit different in the year 2000 when Lord of the Rings first came out, and there's no way they're making that show just for the diehard fans right now. They can't do that, right? It's got to hit a large audience to make that price tag worth it. Okay, so through round one, Tyler, Isaiah, Sean, 4 points. Casey, you've got 5. Let's get into our second round one question here. Rumors are flying for D23, and one of the latest rumors out that we've been hearing is that there's going to be appearances from John Krasinski, John Boyega from the Star Wars films for a Marvel role, and the two most notable, Giancarlo Esposito and Denzel Washington, are also rumored right now to be showing up at D23, which I think is this week or next week. It's very soon. Is there a world where Denzel is not going to play Magneto? Because I don't know what other role it could possibly be considered for. Are we going to get some live action mutant casting at D23? Is there any other juicy rumors that you've been hearing? Isaiah, I want to start with you on this one. You look hyped for this conversation.
I am so hyped for this. I actually think they're going to flip. I know is his name. I never say his name right.
Giancarlo.
Giancarlo. I think they're going to flip him. I think he's going to play Magneto. I think Denzel's going to play Professor Xavier. Just to flip everything on its head. And I think the internet, speaking of review bombing, they're going to flip out. They're going to flip out. As a person of color, I just want to see it done well. What I've heard is that Henry Cavill may also play Dr. Doom. We might get that confirmed as well. I'm so excited.
The other Cavill rumor was Hyperion, I believe.
Hyperion would be better. Just because he's so huge. But yeah, I'm so excited for this. Ultimately, the more X-Men news we can get, the better.
All right, Tyler, would you be into Henry Cavill playing Dr. Doom? Because I didn't think about it at first, but now I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, I'm in on Cavill doing something with Marvel. What are your thoughts on these casting rumors?
Yes, and I don't know. I guess it'd be how much time does he get to spend before he puts on the mask? Because I don't think you hire Henry Cavill and then put a mask on him for.
It's too beautiful of a face. Great point.
But I mean, I'm excited for him to get any and all work. Everything he's done, I'm a fan of. The Star Wars stuff, I'm really excited for. The Fantastic Four and X-Men stuff, I'm just gonna wait until it happens. Honestly, it's upsetting to me because of what happened with the last one. But based on a couple posters you can't see in this shot right here, the one I want to see the most excitement about for D23 is Indiana Jones 5. We got a little taste of the music at the Hollywood Bowl the other night, where I can't think of his name. John Williams got to preview a piece of the music from the score that he's his last movie or last Indiana Jones he's doing. But I really kind of I don't know if it's morbid curiosity or if it's actual excitement. I really want to see what they're going to do with super old Harrison Ford in one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. So,
Tyler, I have over time talked myself into actually liking now Indiana Jones 4. So I am also right there with you and very, very excited to see that movie. It's more realistic that there's aliens than they were going to punch somebody's heart out, guys. Okay.
Honestly, the aliens were probably the thing I had the least issue with in that entire movie.
Okay,
I haven't talked myself deep that as far down the rabbit hole as you are.
He did not punch that heart out. He summoned Kalima's power and he reached in with magic and pulled it out. Okay,
Sean, tell us how magic is more. Tell us how magic works and science doesn't work. Go ahead, Sean.
You know what, man? I'm okay with stupid turns that movie kind of took, like the aliens and stuff like that. That's cool with me. But when it's just kind of like a nonsensical movie to begin with, and it's not very good, there's not really any iconic moments from that Indiana Jones that I can even think of right now. I can think of 5 or 6 from the first 3, and that fourth one.
You don't remember when he got nuked in the fridge?
Oh, the fridge. I'm sorry. I tried to eBay one of those, but they shot up in price after that film. Go figure. Yeah, so I don't know, man. All this stuff going on with D23, Marvel in particular right now, has got this limited time to pull me back in personally, because I'm like the biggest Marvel nerd on the planet. I'm having a really hard time investing in this current phase. Like, I'm almost wondering if there's any way they can possibly beat what they did with Thanos and that whole build up and that big bad and, Endgame. It's going to be really, really hard. But what I do dig is that they introduced this multiverse now, and that we can have more singular movies, right? That don't maybe necessarily have to fit into this 69 movie long timeline and make sense. That's the one thing that I think DC maybe has done just a little bit better than Marvel, is the fact that they can just have these movies and they are their own thing, and that's it. They don't have to connect to every other single movie that they've made.
That's the first time anybody's complimented DC for not knowing what they're doing, so they appreciate
right,
you.
Well, but that's cool, man. Like, their animation too. Like, those are just singular little cool stories that are just fun and they're cool. And you don't necessarily need to have a Thor every time that's like, oh, the end of the world is here. I'm so sick of the end of the world, man. I'm cool with dealing with like one of these guys who, like, the tax accountants are showing up and being like, you didn't file your taxes, Thor. Let's have like a short contained story that's like just a cool movie, man. Star Wars, I'm excited about the future of Mando. I really wish maybe they would announce maybe some of these like Solo movies. Hell, literally Solo, the sequel to Solo, I would love to see, man. That movie has grown on me. I really, really love Solo. I think maybe we can get some more movies that are a little bit more disconnected from the centralized storylines. I'm stoked about all the X-Men stuff, because that means we're going to get a whole new, brand new jumping off point where we maybe, again, don't have to connect to all the other stuff going on with Marvel. So, Disney owns media right now. They own the world. They have like all the money. So expect to see like so many crazy announcements, I'm sure, man. It's going to be nuts.
Now, Sean, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. Are you in on She-Hulk or out on She-Hulk? You don't have to give me a review. You can just say in or out.
I thought it was fun, man. I thought it was cool. It's funny. It's different. That's what I like about these things that they're doing on Disney. Some of them are different, and that's okay. It's just like it's little own thing. Hawkeye. I thought Hawkeye was different, so Hawkeye was cool. So
I just want to say, okay. All right, but Casey, before I get to you, I want to just say to everybody out there, if you're upset about She-Hulk twerking in an after-credit scene in a Marvel show, then I want to see your letter writing campaigns that you sent to Marvel when she was jump roping naked in her original runs.
I was upset for different reasons, because I was like, oh my god, am I like into her
if there
now?
was
I don't know.
If there was an
She-Hulk is amazing.
If there was
she
an after-credit scene
fantastic
of Deadpool twerking, everyone would think it was the greatest thing that was ever made by human hands.
Now, if Deadpool does not bring back both Megan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk for his after-credit scene where they all twerk together, I'd be way out.
I hope she's been talking to Deadpool the whole time. Like, when she's breaking the fourth wall, I hope she's actually talking to Deadpool. That would be absolutely hilarious. I have to go back to his point about things not being connected. DC, do what you want to do, whatever. I love the Joker. I love the Suicide Squad. Marvel, connect my crap. That is my problem with Phase 4. Connect it. When it's connected, it's the best. That's why I like She-Hulk, is because they set something up in Shang-Chi. Abomination was in there. We were like, wonder why. Then we saw him in She-Hulk, and they were like, oh, here's why. It's because we've got the new Phil Coulson of this generation, Wong. Wong is just running amok through this whole thing. Wong's holding the cinematic universe together. Connect my universe.
And the second Wong found out he's getting arrested, he's like, all right, guys, I'm out. I'll see you later.
I got to go.
Bye.
All right,
emergency.
Casey, I want to bring you in here to end it for us. There's no way that Magneto can be a World War II refugee forever. So they got to move forward with a different kind of a story. And it seems like civil rights makes sense, right? Like with the story, you think Denzel Giancarlo is a Magneto professor? You see it coming?
I've been saying that for a while, that I think that'd be the closest historical equivalent you could pick off of, and it would also lend itself to some more diversity, which is always good. But I think it's hard for me to say Denzel would be taking a role like that, as Marvel traditionally has taken veteran actors like Anthony Hopkins and Robert Redford and put them in more tertiary roles where they can pop in, add some gravitas to a scene or two, and or play a villain in a one-off and then be done. I don't see him with the kind of work he's doing, largely adapting stage plays from August Wilson and stuff like that and turning those into films. That seems to be his passion project. So I can't see him necessarily taking on a permanent role like that, even though it would be a dream casting. Same with Krasinski. I think Krasinski was a one-off just to give the fans what they wanted to see for a minute. He might show up to announce, but we're going to get the cast and the director of Fantastic Four, and I'm almost more interested in the director to see if Marvel keeps getting some fresh blood in or if they grab someone established, because I think they're sprinkling these mutant things in, but they're not going to give us X-Men right now. They want the Fantastic Four to have their moment to shine. They're the first family of Marvel. It makes sense. Let them have their moment in the sun before the X-Men start coming in and being kind of everyone's favorite.
Hear me out on this real quick. Denzel is not going to be an X-Men. He's going to play Whistler in Blade.
I hope so. That would be a really
That-
cool
that-
cast.
That's
the vibe.
probably
That'd be dope.
one of the better. That would be really, really, really good. I mean, I'd be super into that.
Or what if he played the bad vampire, whatever, Blade is against in that movie? He plays a good villain, too.
He's going to play Dracula again, right?
Yeah.
Hell, why not?
we with Dracula. I was like, what are we doing with Dracula and Blade?
Actually, maybe not Dracula. Can we do a different vampire, like Alucard or anything else?
Sure.
All right. Look, I didn't even think about Denzel and Blade, and honestly, like, I'm definitely down for that. He's such a great actor. I just want more of him, Tyler, correct point. I don't think that Henry Cavill will be Doom because he is way too beautiful to cover that face, unless they give him just a lot of stuff leading up to being Doom.
Or they're trying to be
just don't
very
see him.
ironic. They're like, look, we cast Henry Cavill with a mask on the whole time. Joke's on
Look,
you.
Marvel's absolutely drooling about this idea of casting Henry Cavill. It feels like a nail in one of the DC's coffins right now, but we'll get to DC later. We'll talk to them in a minute. After round one, we are sitting at Casey at 9, everybody else at 8. Casey, your gang up point at the beginning is keeping you ahead. Let's take a quick, short break and get to round 2. Okay, so we're on round 2 now, and I'm going to ask you some quick hit questions. Give me an answer or two. We might have some time for rebuttal, but we'll move a little bit faster through these few. All right, so first, Spider-Man re-released in theaters this weekend with 13 extra minutes of footage. And this is after, of course, the movie's already been released at home. While the extra footage necessarily doesn't really matter, it doesn't feel right that they did not include footage initially with the movie that they thought could have worked in theaters. Do you agree with this or not? Tyler, go first.
No, they don't owe us anything. They can put whatever movie in the movie theater they want. And a lot of times these scenes, like, while they may or may not work, they definitely throw off pacing. And there's also lots of logistics around how long movies can be, how many times can you turn them over and stuff like that. It's fine. Now, I will say that the advent of streaming and the death of kind of a physical media means there's less opportunities to get these special features, like outside of, like, a lot of times they get thrown up on YouTube, but like Netflix and even Amazon Prime, which tries to do it, and all those others aren't really well equipped, and even Disney Plus aren't really well equipped for, like, here's deleted scenes, or here's the behind the scenes, or here's a documentary. They make attempts to it. It doesn't work. So it sucks that there's not a great way to get these things, but you can't get whatever. Like, the movie that was in theaters did very well. It was very good. I'm sure these new 13 minutes are very cool. I want to see them just because I hear we get way more Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, and that's the other thing at D23 I want to know more about. I need to know more about Daredevil, but I'm not angry at anyone
because his scene in the movie Spider-Man was, to me, awful, and I can't believe that that's how they used him. So I'd love to see more of that too. Isaiah, do you think that this is right that they put out this different version of the movie for us to watch later?
Yeah, I think it's fine. We see it all the time now. Again, Avengers came back, Avatar's coming back. I think it's fine to reintroduce and put things in theaters because of the state of theaters right now, right? We're trying to get people to come back into theaters. So they're trying to find new and exciting ways. So I'm up for the experimentation and saying, hey, here's some extra footage. Come check it out. I loved it. I saw it already. I thought there's a little bit more Daredevil in it, and it gave context to the scene specifically with Happy Hogan a little bit more. So I liked it. I mean, anytime I can get more of all three Spider-Men on the screen, I'm in for it.
Casey, what do you think? They couldn't beat Tom Cruise, though, so unfortunately for them.
Yeah, I think when you bring
Tom.
a movie that's really successful back into theaters, it just drives more, business to the theaters. And I think we live in a post-COVID world where, like, theaters were this close to being gone. And so I value them maybe even more than I did before. And they've always been kind of my happy place. So I love going to the theater. And I think right now is a smart time to drop it between the summer and holiday season when it's kind of that dead zone where you don't get a lot of great films. So, get butts and seats, sell more tickets, help the theaters thrive. That's always a good thing. What I think about the extra footage, though, is that's fine if they want to put like a director's cut version into theaters. But if those minutes aren't included in the copy that fans are buying, I disagree with that. I don't think you should hold it back as a marketing tactic when people are spending their hard-earned money to own the film and to own the entirety of the film, including bonus features.
Movie DLC. So you're going to release it as a DLC, download it. No
just
big deal.
update our copies, right? Sean, what do you think of this?
Burns it right on the disc for you. You know what, man? I agree. I think, I grew up or I still live in a very small town where we personally know the theater owners. Anything we can do to help these theaters get back up on their feet, man, I'm all for it. Like, let's go back to the theater. Let's watch Spider-Man 20 more times to help some of these small business owners who struggled through everything that happened the past couple of years, man. So it's cool, whatever, man. I think it's a little weird that they didn't include it on the Blu-ray. I did see something that Paramount did that I thought was absolutely brilliant that they maybe missed out on. So there's a Jurassic World Dominion exclusive version that's on Paramount Plus, and it has those 9 or 10 extra minutes of footage that everybody was talking about from the beginning of the film and a little bit towards the middle and end, where the dinosaurs are actually out there in the world, the stuff that we really, like me personally anyway, really wanted to see. So that's going to drive a whole bunch of people over to Paramount to subscribe. I thought that was brilliant on their behalf, so I thought that was a really cool way to do that also.
Awesome. Yeah, you know what? I can't go see it again. I can't go see Spider-Man again. I bought it already. I'll watch it at home. I will say this: if you've not seen anything at all, what's that noise? Someone's been very loud there. If you've not seen Maverick in theaters, go see it. It's still there. Like, you can go right now and still watch it. I think it is it's the best movie theater experience since at least Endgame for me, if not beyond that even. I mean, I just absolutely loved it. So
Hot Wheels made his jet from the beginning, man, and I was like around the store with that thing. It's so rad.
Sean went into the theater last weekend like that, actually, carrying his Hot Wheels toy.
I flew down the middle of the aisle. It was like.
All right. Well, so next question here. We'll keep moving through this as fast as we can. Warner Brothers, of course, pushed every single movie they have out into oblivion, right? At least until 2023. Right now, Black Adam is the only movie still scheduled to come out this year. Do we think that it's a problem to push this? I mean, this is a lot of movies they're moving around, right? Like 5, 6, 7 DCEU movies. Is that an issue? Or would we rather see them push out until they have things done right, made things, look better, whatever it is that they're going to do to fix their DCEU? Let's start with Casey on this one.
Yeah, as far as the DCEU goes, it's a giant mess. I mean, it's been constantly being rewritten as it goes. It's like they're trying to rebuild the car while it's on the freeway. I think it has no direction. And I think right now they're just trying to pick up the pieces with the things they've already put money into. And the one marketable star they still have that's in their good graces, which is The Rock, who shamelessly promotes the hell out of this movie and has for, I think, 5 years since he's been casted, which is insane. I remember hearing about the initial casting. I mean, 5 years, it's a long time. But yeah, it came and went. But I honestly, I think it's smart that they're pushing things with the Amber Heard stuff, the Ezra Miller stuff. I mean, they have more stars that are in trouble than ones that aren't. And even the stars that people love, like Gal Gadot, their last outing was subpar at best. And WB is just kind of hemorrhaging like PR nightmares right now. Like, at least J.K. Rowling's not getting any bad PR. That's all I'll say.
J.K. Rowling's happy right now for Ezra Miller being an insane person.
Spotlight
Isaiah,
shifted.
Isaiah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm not going to be happy until they cancel that Flash movie. I really think.
Don't make everyone suffer because one dumbass did a bunch of shit. Man,
no, but the thing is, Ezra Miller all of his outings have been terrible, right? And so we're introducing Michael Keaton, and I love Michael Keaton as Batman. I love it, and if they mess that up at all, I'm done. Bring Grant Gustin back and you have the perfect out with this movie. You can rewrite everything with Flashpoint, but go get Grant. You can even put out the movie you got, but have Grant record a post-credit scene where he kind of does the old Superman thing and rewinds time, and fix your stuff, man. Make it connected. do it the right way and build it from the ground up. A big issue already talking about Shazam and Black Adam. There's no hype around it, right? What do we want to see? We want to see Black Adam fight Shazam. There's no plans to do that right now. It doesn't make sense. Just let the Flash undo it and start again.
Isaiah, I don't know if you had heard, but we did talk about this 2 weeks ago, that there were rumored scenes to have that he was going to go visit like the 60s Wonder Woman show, Christopher Reeve, that he was going to be going and hitting every single Adam West, like every property that they have, that he was going to be going throughout that. And so if that's a movie that's already made, I don't know if I want him to shelve that. I'd like to maybe see that. Even though
is he going to be running
nobody,
like this?
Well, nobody has said, okay, well, let's we pump the brakes here. Firstly, nobody's ever said Ezra Miller was good in the movie. At least I don't remember hearing that. Secondly, if you watch the Zack Snyder cut, the running makes more sense. But who am I to disagree with you? You probably haven't seen it as many times as I have, 150 or something like that, right? Sean, what do you think about DC?
I just want to say the initial screenings that have all the people who've talked about watching The Flash so far said it's like fabulous, it's heartfelt, it's funny, it's like apparently one of the best, if not the best, DC movies coming. So I'm actually excited about that one, despite all these. I'm sure somewhere there's an HR guy at Warner Brothers DC who's like, "Oh my God, what's today?" So that part of it is like, oh, whatever. I try not to care too much about that and just enjoy these works of art for what they are. Because what I noticed with Batgirl, that movie got canceled, and you had two of these directors who put their soul, their heart, everything into this film just get crushed now. And you have this entire crew of people who just feel like it was a waste. So, a big part of me wonders how much of this is just like this one Warner Brother executive being like, yeah, y'all, this is my idea, and screw you, and this sucks. And how much of it is really like that it was maybe a bad movie? Because I guess at this point we may never know, which is crazy. And I don't agree with Isaiah as far as connecting these things. I think that's what DC has done exceedingly well in the face of Marvel, connecting everything. They can make a movie like The Joker. They can make a movie like The Batman, like a movie that is just its own little self-contained story that is just a good, cool take on a character. I think you really shoehorn yourself into a corner when you're trying to have all this stuff connected. And as a writer, I'm sure some of these writers sit down for Marvel and are like, oh my God, what am I doing? How am I supposed to make this work?
Tyler, what do you think about DC right now? Where are we at?
Listen, I am well regarded, well known on the Project Nerd Network as taking every chance I can take to take a crack at the DCU because of the train wreck and dumpster fire it is. But at this one, I don't even lay at their feet anymore because Warner Brothers Discovery walked into this dumpster fire and said, hold my beer, I can make this worse. So and anyone who says Batgirl might have been you're saying Flash is the best DC movie to ever come up, not a high bar. And they've proven before they're pretty okay with releasing not great stuff. Fine. So Batgirl was one of a million things that got murdered by David Zaslav, the new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, who's they've been taking television shows that are already done and paid for off of HBO Max without telling the creators. They've been canceling shows left and right. This is a much bigger problem than DCU. Not that DCU was any good place beforehand, but Warner Brothers Discovery came in and said, we can make this worse. And they somehow managed to. So
literally Sean's television show that he is on is no longer on Discovery Plus, damn it, because of this merger, right? Now, Okay, I want to go through yes or no from everybody, just a yes or no. If those things actually sucked, is it a problem if they are trying to reshuffle the deck to make their DCEU, whatever that is, better going forward? Casey, yes or no?
Yes, it could be good if it's a part of a bigger plan.
Okay, so you think it's okay. Isaiah, what do you think?
I think it's good, to reshuffle and fix things.
Okay, Sean?
I think it's fine to move things around, shuffle it however you want. I think the canceling of movies maybe is pushing it a little bit too far and unprecedented in this world that we live in. But, I'm not a high-paid executive, so what do I know?
Okay, we're going to do one more quick question on this one. I want everybody to go around real quick and tell me, who do you think? Oh, there, Sean's gone. We'll see what happened there. Who do we think should be the new DCEU showrunner, so to speak, for Warner Brothers? Right? Dan Lin was going to be the person to do this. He was going to be the Kevin Feige of DCEU, but he is no longer going to be in this role. Should we get Jim Lee, Bruce Timm, Kevin Smith? Should he come in? He's been offered the role apparently before in rumors. Tyler, who should be this person? Who's the
Man,
savior?
I don't envy anyone to taking that job. Like, I don't know there's a version of that job that where you can win at. Only I would say, like, of the people you listed, I would pick Kevin Smith just because at this point I don't think he has anything to lose and doesn't like really give a shit. Like, if this ruined his like whatever, he'd be fine with it, and he at least is passionate about this stuff and wants to see it done well. But I don't know that I would wish that job on my worst enemy at this point.
Sean, what do you think?
I think Star Wars did it right when they got what is his name? The guy who does all the Mando and stuff. He was an Iron Man. No, not Filoni.
John Favreau, Dave Filoni.
Yeah, so they found people that were really, really passionate about the work. People who knew what it was coming into it, people who grew up loving it. So I think that's something that DC needs to look at. They need to stop looking at qualifications on paper and look at what some of these people have in terms of passion to bring to these projects. Because Kevin Feige, he knows Marvel, he has passion about it, and he knows what he's talking about when he walks into these rooms.
So who is it, Sean? Who's the person? Who's our person?
Oh, God. Me, man. This is my break. I want to go in there. I want to put these things back together. I'm going to make a spreadsheet. It'll be like Nathan Fielder on the rehearsal, man. I'm going to have like this massive spreadsheet of like what can go wrong. And DC, call me up.
Isaiah, who do you think should be?
It's very simple. James Gunn. Give James Gunn. He's finishing up Guardians.
I wrote that down as a thing, but I think he might be too insane.
Let James do it. James has the best track record out of everyone, right? Peacemaker, amazing. The Suicide Squad, amazing.
You've named two things, and it's probably better than everybody else.
Better than everybody else.
He just makes trauma movies. He straight up makes trauma movies with DC characters, and I love it.
Let him do it.
Casey, what do you think? Who should it be?
All right, here's my quick pitch. So just like they poached James Gunn, I think they poached because one man doing Kevin Feige's job is pretty difficult, but why not a team? And I'm thinking the Russo brothers. They just had kind of a flop with the Gray Man, so maybe they need an existing IP to have their best work show. They know how to think big picture. They can do serious. They can do humongous set pieces and still have time for each character to live and breathe and be three-dimensional. And I think they'd be the only people that could really fill the shoes of a Kevin Feige.
Casey, that is an absolutely great. That's a great pitch there. I think the answer is probably the most obvious answer is whoever has the balls to tell them they don't have to connect all of their movies is the one that they should hire, because give Zack Snyder his money to do his thing over here, give the Joker movie over here, make your Harley movie here. Whoever wants to make a DC movie, just sign up this form here, and we'll give you the money, and you can do what you want to do. Right? That's where I think we're going to.
Whoever's doing the animated films, all the animated films were connected, right?
The animated ones are so crazy. All bets are off in those. People die left and right. Like Wonder Woman banging all the heroes. It's great.
Okay, we're going to move on. We got one more. So Casey, you have 18, Isaiah 17, Sean and Tyler at 16 each. Going into our last question before the final round, and this one is going to be a quick one. I don't even know if you know what we're talking about when I'm referencing this, and hopefully you watch the video, but did Chris Pine get spit on by Harry Styles? Clearly the answer to me is a yes. Isaiah, what do you think? Did you watch the video?
I saw the video. I'm going to go with yes. I don't know how intentional it was. I can't.
Chris Pine looked stunned, didn't he? He's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yes, yeah, I think he did.
Sean, did you watch the video?
He obviously had a major problem with the most recent Sonic movie, which I don't blame him. So no, I really like that movie actually. I haven't seen the video, but I hope so, because now I'm going to go search it out, and I'm sure I'm going to become as infatuated with that as I was with Will Smith for a little bit.
One of the weirdest. This one's a really weird one. Like, it's definitely weird. Tyler, did you watch the video? What do you think?
I have not seen the video, so I'm just gonna say no. I doubt it, but at the same time, like,
I can't wait till you watch.
Is Don't Worry, Darling even a fraction as good as like the amount of press surrounding it at this point? Like,
I think Olivia Wilde is a genius marketer. I'll tell you that. Whatever's going on, she's talking about this movie and making everybody else talk about it. Right? The reviews are not as good as, again, like you said, the talk around it. So, Casey, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't see the video, but I saw a press release from Chris Pine's representative that said that he didn't get spit on, which is weird because he's not the one necessarily doing the spitting if it did happen. So I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Look, firstly, Harry Styles can spit on me any day of the week. That's fine.
I don't have to pay like $1,000 for
secondly, if anyone watches Seinfeld, my guess is there was a second spitter. If you don't watch Seinfeld,
On the grassy
then maybe
knoll.
go culture yourself. He clearly did. Watch the video. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's uncomfortable and odd in every shape.
The whole Florence thing, not looking at Olivia. I mean, I have to see this movie now just to find out what's going on.
Incredible. Yes, they all
There's so
hate
much
each other.
tea that needs to be spilled right now about the infidelity and stuff. I can't wait.
All right, so going into our final round, it looks like Sean and Tyler are going to be eliminated. So Sean and Tyler, wave goodbye as you guys say goodbye, and we'll bring you back here just a few seconds as we do our final round. Goodbye, Shalon. See you later, buddy. Okay, so we're going to get into our last round. Our final question. Winner is going to get 30 seconds to talk about whatever they want to. All right, and our final question for the day. Brendan Fraser had his clip go viral this week, the standing ovation he received after his new screening of The Whale, right, which is his new Darren Aronofsky movie. And this is at the Venice Film Festival. And personally, I'm absolutely thrilled for him. I'm super excited for him. Even the children are excited for him. We love Brendan Fraser so much. He's deserving of this moment. Who else is deserving? Who else do you want to see have their moment? Who else wants to see that role that's going to bring somebody back? Who needs a revival? Isaiah, I'll start with you.
Well, I guess when I read this question, another person who was deserving that it already kind of happened for was Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick got a post, obviously, award for his voice acting work. And for me, Chadwick is just if we could find a way to give him more awards and just keep him and what he stood for in the forefront of people's minds, I think the better. The same way with Brendan. It's just like those guys, they're people that I would love to just meet and just sit down and like have a coffee with for a little bit. I think both of those guys have just been deserving of all of the praise and stuff that's been heaped on them.
It's why I have a hard time hearing the hate for the Black Panther stuff and with the recasting. It's like, we don't know what Chadwick, his fingerprints are all over this. I can't believe that it's not, I can't believe that he didn't at least he deserves all of the things Chadwick Boseman, man, that one makes me sad every time I think about it. Casey, who deserves their second wave here to be great for them?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with Chadwick. I mean, I watched him in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, like after he passed away, and just beautiful performance all around. I kind of had two people that I thought had more to give. One being Bryan Cranston. I feel like he's suffering a little bit from the success of Breaking Bad, and it's not his fault. If anything, he became a huge star because of it. And I think even like before Jesse Eisenberg was cast as Lex Luthor, a lot of people were wanting him to be Lex Luthor. I could see him being a villain. I could see him wearing a lot of hats. He's amazing at comedy. I'd love to see him have a role in like an Oscar darling, like dramedy type movie. The other actor that I feel like had his time in the sun about 15 years ago, and I felt like there was more to give there because he's tall, he's strong, he's got a great presence, great name recognition, and he could pretty much fit into any franchise or a role you'd want to put him in, is Eric Bana. He's in some of my favorite movies like Troy and Munich, and I just feel like I'd love to see him. Whenever I hear about him doing anything, I get excited because I'm like, oh man, I love that guy. I want to see more of him. So
let's give him another run as the Hulk, right?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a fair shot. I mean, he's 6'2", he's built like a brick house. I mean, he could play anybody.
My answer for this question was Chris O'Donnell, because his career got absolutely shit on after the poor Batman movies. He could definitely. I'd like to see him as like an old gritty grown up DCEU Robin. Maybe he's in the Nightwing and like an alcoholic Nightwing now. Let's do that series, right? Casey, you had an absolutely phenomenal show. I don't know how I cannot pick Chadwick Boseman though here, because he's such a great dude. So unfortunately, our winner today is going to be Isaiah. Isaiah, you are our champion today. But we're going to move myself and Casey. We're going to give you 30 seconds here after your little hurrah.
Hey guys, thank you so much for this win. Check us out, myself and my sister. We have this channel called Select Screen. It's 5ELECT, 5CREEN. You can get there by going to Linktree. We do movie reviews, video game reactions. We do weekly breakdowns of your favorite Marvel shows. Definitely check us out, as well as my music at crosscenteredrecords.com. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys checking out the show. Andy, all my other competitors, shout out to you guys as well. But again, link tr.ee/select screen.
You're going to get a half a win today, Casey, for sure. Okay.
Great
I
job.
think I felt bad about, you did so well. So, Casey, anything you want to plug real quick before we go?
No, I'm just happy to be part of the Project Nerd Network tonight and have fun with you guys talking about stuff we're all passionate about. It's always fun.
Sean, we could find you Hop Toys anywhere else we need to be looking for you.
We're on Facebook, all over social media, High on Plastic Toys.
And Tyler, where can we find you?
Just any and all things Project Nerd, especially as the Project Nerd tour has started kicking back up again this year. I'm at been in a lot of our live shows, and we'll continue to be at a lot of our conventions as we on into the new year. So
absolutely, and check out Project Nerd's website. You guys, there's a lot of great content, a lot of great podcast videos. Really appreciate y'all coming today. Thank you, and have a great evening.